Hey, hi, hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Chloe, and today's video is going to be about coping with anxiety. And a recipe at the end, which I'll timestamp in the comments. Given the events this week, the insurrection in particular, a lot of people across the states and across the world even are feeling very anxious, and I know I definitely have been. I've also had some personal struggles this last week, and I kind of just feel like I just want to scream, but it's cool. I'm still trying to figure out what background I want to use, so let me know what you guys think. Do you like the bed? Or the hats? I think I'm actually gonna take that hat wall down and do something else over there. This is Beans. I'm gonna talk about the strategies that I use to cope with anxiety. I'm not a mental health professional, but I do have very severe anxiety. So I've been dealing with that for a few years. I've got it to a very manageable place, and I'm really proud of that. So these are just some of the things I do that help. First, I wanna talk about panic attacks and anxiety attacks. When you are having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, there's a few things you can do to calm your nervous system. The best tip I've ever got was from an old therapist of mine, and she told me to squeeze ice cubes. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make some ice cubes. Another trick for dealing with anxiety attacks is breathing practices. I know I talked about Ujjayi breathing in one of my earlier videos, so if you haven't seen my meditation types videos, you should go check it out. But in addition to Ujjayi, there are other breathing practices I use to calm my nervous system and to ease my anxiety. I don't have a name for the first breathing practice that I'm going to talk about, but it's really easy. All you do is count your inhale and start really small, like 2 or 3. And then on your exhale, double that number. So breathe in for 2 counts, pause, breathe out for 4, pause. You can continue to do that and build on it. Expand it to 3 seconds and 4. One of the cats is in the kitchen ruining everything. We love it. You can go up as high as you want. I generally stay in the 2 to 4 range. Next breathing practice I want to talk about is square breathing. Everything you do in square breathing is for 4 counts. So you're going to inhale for 4 counts, pause for 4 counts, exhale for 4 counts, and pause for 4 counts, and repeat. All of these are really easy to do, and they are really helpful. One of my professors actually has us do square breathing before every exam, which I thought was really useful and helpful for everyone in the class, especially for the people who have test anxiety. Ujjayi is my personal favorite. I find that it calms my system more than any other kind of breathing practice. If you want me to explain Ujjayi in another video again, I will. Just let me know. Now I'm going to talk more about daily practices that you can do that are more like preventative for anxiety, or they ease your normal levels of anxiety, and sometimes even these practices can help with a panic attack as well. The first helpful tool I'm going to talk about is, you guessed it, meditation. You're not surprised if you've been watching my videos, but I find meditation so useful and so helpful. It just helps you stay in a more positive mindset, helps you be mindful. There's even kinds of meditations that help with healing and trauma. Even working with manifestation, you can try to manifest less anxiety and heal your anxiety. And you can do all this through meditation. I've said it before, but there are tons of free meditations here on YouTube, but there's also a ton of free meditations on Insight Timer, and I really love that app. All you have to do is just search whatever you want. You can go through like the little packs that are up at the top. So there is one, I think there is one that's specifically for coping with anxiety, but there's also ones like helping with sleep. There's that help with mindfulness at work. All kinds of things that are really awesome. As far as meditating goes, in particular, a great thing to work on when you are having high levels of anxiety is to work on grounding. Root chakra meditations completely focus on grounding. So when you are having high levels of anxiety, root chakra meditations are a great thing to go to. They're really helpful. I generally like doing one of the calming breath practices before going into a meditation. That way you are in the right mindset when you start. Another thing I find super useful with coping with my anxiety is just keeping the house clean or keeping your home clean. I'm gonna stop. Goose. Goose. You may not want to clean, but cleaning does help with anxiety. Your headspace kind of gets stuck in the environment that you're living in. If you're living in a mess, then your headspace is going to be a mess. And you'll probably have high levels of anxiety, stress, anything like that. I know it certainly affects my mood, so I love to keep it clean. I'm actually going to clean up a little bit tonight to encourage the right headspace for me to be in, if that even made any sense at all. Now this one, unfortunately, not everyone can do, but the number one thing that helps with my anxiety is having a pet. This is my big baby. I love him. And holding them on your chest. Holding them on your chest really helps if you're feeling anxious. I just feel like they make everything about life better. I did get Pete actually as an ESA while I was in college for the first time. I don't want to be wrong about what I'm saying, so I'm going to double check it. So one of the most common grounding techniques that I think every therapist has suggested, anyone else that struggles with anxiety, if you have a therapist, I'm sure you've heard this before, but if you haven't, the probably most common grounding technique is using your 5 senses. So the first one is going to be 5 things that you can see. So you're just going to count 5 things you can see around you. Next is 4 things you can feel, then 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. I also want to add that with anxiety comes a lot of chronic pain, so you should stretch daily. I stretch at least once a day, sometimes twice, and it really does help. That was my knee. I wasn't originally planning on filming this, so there's no transition, but here I am cooking one of my absolute favorite meals. It's healthy, vegetarian, cozy, and delicious. Here I'm peeling sweet potatoes and I'm going to cut them into chunks, but you can use sweet potatoes or butternut squash. It also doesn't matter how much you use, that's up to you. I love beets, so I'm using this whole jar, but I usually just use a small can from Kroger, and I chop them up as well. I rinsed and massaged some kale, and then I tried to chop it up, and it didn't go well, so I just ripped it up with my hands into little pieces, which worked just fine. I'm going to start cooking the quinoa, so I'm taking 1 cup of quinoa and 2 cups of water, bringing that to a boil. Then I'm going to cover it and let it simmer for about 20 minutes until all the water is soaked up. I flick a little bit of water on the pan to see if the pan is Little Caesar's Pizza. Is it hot and ready? Please don't unsubscribe, but the pan is ready. So I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to the sweet potatoes and cook them first because they take the longest. Don't worry, I added more oil, but I just cook them until they are soft and a little bit brown. I add pink Himalayan sea salt and black pepper to every step, and for the sweet potatoes, I'm going to add some turmeric as well. Once I'm done with the sweet potatoes, I'm going to pour them into a large mixing bowl since I don't have a pan large enough to cook all 3 veggies in. And I'm going to start cooking the beets, but you don't actually need olive oil, I just wasn't thinking about it. The quinoa is ready, so I'm going to add a jar of pesto, just a small jar, but I do use the whole thing. Once the beets are hot, I'm going to add goat cheese. I believe it's roughly 2 ounces, but I don't really measure anything in this recipe. But I'm going to cook that until the goat cheese melts. I add the beet and goat cheese mixture to the sweet potatoes, and then I start sauteing the kale. Again, I'm going to add pink salt and black pepper. I did that with the beets as well, I just forgot to say anything. I add the kale into the bowl with the sweet potatoes, beets, and goat cheese, mix it around, and then you're done. This is 4 servings of quinoa, so I go ahead and just split everything in 2 quarters, and the serving size is honestly huge and it's so filling. If you are struggling with anxiety right now, just know that you're not alone. A lot of us are feeling this way at the moment, probably more collectively than ever. Not only give these tools and tricks a try, but do something you love. Go outside, read a book, garden, bake some muffins, whatever makes your heart happy, and take a bath. I just want you all to feel warm and loved. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you made it all the way here, drop your favorite color in the comments. I hope you found this video useful or helpful, or at least made you smile. And I'll see you next Tuesday. Here's a fun blooper reel of me being awkward in front of the camera if you're into that kind of thing. Other back breath. La 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 la. Blah, blah, blah. It keeps your head la 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 la. La 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 la.